It was the song that really started it all for Def Leppard. A perfectly crafted hit song about an unattainable attraction. Photograph flew up the charts when it was released as the lead single from Pyromania in 1983, totally kicking off the band's ascent to superstardom. The Marilyn Monroe lookalike in the video for the song, which was put into heavy rotation on MTV at the height of the channel's power and influence, made fans think that the song was about the iconic actress. But was it? Let's get into the story in this episode of the Behind the Song podcast. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and let us know in the comments. You can't talk about the meteoric success of Def Leppard without talking about the crucial influence of producer Mutt Lange, who joined with Def Leppard after his phenomenal success producing AC/DC's Back in Black album in 1980. He produced Def Leppard's sophomore effort, 1981's High and Dry, a great album, but still somewhat raw and not super deep in terms of singles. Lange was brought back on board to produce Pyromania, and his meticulous guidance fueled the band on their pursuit of a more polished, radio-friendly sound. Lange, known for his perfectionism and ability to sculpt massive, layered soundscapes, pushed Def Leppard to refine their songwriting and arrangements. The band, who were all around 21 or 22 at the time, really had their coming of age with the Pyromania album, with Lange urging them to slow down and to listen to Motown records while they were in the recording process. It was an education that paid off. One minute, they were all living with their parents, and the next, after Pyromania took off, they were filling arenas all over the world. It was a magical collaboration, intense and absolutely pivotal for the band to work with Lange's vision on these songs. As they got down to work and started to look for the first single, they realized they had the genesis of something with a track they'd started working on years earlier. In fact, Pete Willis, the guitarist who left the band just as the sessions for Pyromania began and was replaced by Phil Collen, can still be heard on the recording of Photograph. Willis was fired due to his drinking problem, which Lange in particular felt was affecting the recording process for the new album. So he was let go, and Collen was brought on the next day. One note, as a founding member, Willis was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the band in 2019, but he didn't attend the ceremony. Collen absolutely nailed the guitar solo on Photograph, a key component of the song, and Steve Clark provided the killer opening riff. Musically, Photograph was coming along nicely, but they still needed lyrics. Singer Joe Elliott told VH1 in 2013 that Mutt Lange had mentioned the line, "All I've got is a photograph," as they were working on coming up with the lyrics. To which Elliott responded by pointing out that the exact lyric was in the Ringo Starr song Photograph, co-written with George Harrison and released in 1973 on his album Ringo. It's a song about lost, irreplaceable love, and it was actually a pretty big hit. But when Elliott pointed all this out to Lange, Lange responded by saying that no one would notice. Lyrically, Photograph deals with unattainable desire, a yearning for a person frozen in a photograph. Elliott has said that it's a photograph of something you can't ever get your hands on, somebody that's not here. A popular myth propelled by the Marilyn Monroe lookalike in the music video is that the song was inspired by Monroe, but Elliott has said that's not the case. While he has admitted that there was a poster of Monroe on his wall around this time, it was more a jumping-off point for the lyrics, as in, what if you can't have someone? Not because they've run off with someone else, but because they're simply not here anymore. The ultimate, impossible object of unfulfilled desire, with no way to reach the person at all. The lyrics go like this. I'm out of luck, out of love. Got a photograph, picture of. Passion killer, you're too much. You're the only one I want to touch. I see your face every time I dream, on every page, every magazine. So wild and free, so far from me. You're all I want, my fantasy. Look what you've done to this rock and roll clown. Look what you've done. It's an obsession for someone who is just out of reach, no closer ever than a picture, which is all you can hold on to. An amplified celebrity crush. In a sense, this love interest is completely wrecking the narrator, even though they've never met. And it goes on. I don't want your photograph. I don't need your photograph. All I've got is a photograph, but it's not enough. I'd be your lover if you were there. Put your hurt on me if you dare. Such a woman, you got style. You make every man feel like a child. You got some kind of hold on me. You're all wrapped up in mystery. So wild and free, so far from me. You're all I want, my fantasy. The pre-chorus and chorus repeat, layers of vocals and sounds in that signature pop rock Mutt Lange style, a song about a fantasy that can't be fulfilled. Played perfectly by the band and Thomas Dolby, who guests on keyboards on the track, it was as irresistible to fans as the person in the photograph was in the framework of this song. It was the cornerstone of Pyromania's success, and it hasn't really lost any steam in all the years since. In fact, it crossed over to the country and pop world when Def Leppard performed it on CMT Crossroads with Taylor Swift in 2008, and when they performed it with the Foo Fighters and Miley Cyrus at the 2022 tribute concert in Los Angeles for the late Taylor Hawkins, who had left Cyrus a voicemail message telling her that she should cover Photograph before his untimely passing. The video for the song, directed by David Mallet, showed the band as having more in common with the reigning heartthrobs at the time, Duran Duran, than, say, Judas Priest. 1983 was a pretty big year for Mallet, too, as he also directed David Bowie's Let's Dance music video, the all-important title track for Bowie's big comeback album. The heavy rotation that Photograph received on MTV was instrumental in making the song fly up the charts. In fact, it was the first Def Leppard song to truly break into the top 20 in the U.S. It went to number 1 on the Billboard Top Tracks chart, where it stayed for 6 weeks. It also went to number 12 on the Pop Singles chart. No metal or hard rock band had ever done that before. Pyromania went on to sell over 10 million copies. More than just a hit single, Photograph was a declaration of intent, signaling Def Leppard's arrival as a real force in rock music and setting the stage for their even greater triumphs to come. It remains a testament to the power of a well-crafted, well-performed, and well-recorded song, appearing in several lists as one of the very best of its kind. Not too bad for a song that was begun years before it made it to the Pyromania album, with a lyric borrowed from a Ringo Starr hit. What does Ringo think about all that? Well, until he makes a public comment about it, which he has never done, we'll never know. So, what other songs about intense crushes like this come to mind? Something to think about. Until next time. I'm Janda, and this has been Behind the Song. If you like this episode, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Special thanks, as always, to Christian Lane for the music you hear on these podcast episodes. You can find me on the air at 97.1 FM The Drive in Chicago and at WDRV.com. On the way, much more classic rock and roll.